Most ecom brand owners think that the hardest part in ecom is getting successful, making those first big months. The reality is, when you start scaling up, your mindset needs to evolve as well. And the mindset is something that is a bit gimmicky in this space. No one really talks about it until you're deep in the trenches. You're doing 300k per month. You have a whole team on payroll now. Suddenly, you can't cope with business going down. Your mindset isn't set in place. You don't know how to deal with the stress. Everything comes crumbling down. Your team depends on you and you can't really provide for them. Then you're really, really fucked. And a lot of things can happen as well in ecom. You build your dropshipping business on sand, on an account ban, you're gone. How do you deal with that? Most people can deal with that cycles and then they just end up going back to where they were in the first place, back to working at McDonald's. In fact, I've seen a lot of brand owners over the years, due to not developing their mindset, they really just kept themselves on growth. At a certain point where you consume all this information already, you need to execute, but you've not developed the right systems of thinking, of mental models in place to be able to put those information and knowledge to proper work. So the technical business side is of course very important, right? Learning how to scale, making creatives and whatever. The mindset part is as important because once you start getting all these issues, maybe you get lost in whatever, you don't know how to deal with it. People start resorting to sketchy things to make things work, the black hat or whatever it may be. All bad methods of making business that are all short-term anyways. That's why in this video, I'm going to break down the exact mental models that I use. Some of the pitfalls I've seen over the 5 years I've been in ecom, a lot of gurus, a lot of people I've went through, and top reasons why people have failed in terms of their mindset, and just how you can avoid this comfort trap in the first place so you can keep growing year over year. Eventually, it will compound instead of making a ton of money 1 year and just falling off the face of the earth. So let's dive into it. Welcome to the comfort trap. In my 5 years of being in e-commerce, I've seen a lot of gurus, I've seen a lot of brands fall off as well. They might have done 9 figures in the past, but now you forgot about them already. They're not existent basically, right? The decline was big. So if you see this graph over here, it's what most people go through, right? It's a comfort trap. They feel comfortable, they don't do anything until problems arise. Once enough problems arise, they find the solutions to it, then they get comfortable again, and then they don't do anything until problems arise again. So this is why most gurus fell off, because most people fall to their vices, and it's not just the gurus. Anyone who's made it successful, even me, I followed into this at some point in my life. The thing is, I unfortunately was not dumb enough to let it take over my life. I didn't spend all the money and then learn no skills at all. I did it the opposite way. That's a separate topic, okay? So a lot of people will just fall into vices, start burning money on stupid shit, and they stop doing what got them there in the first place, and then the brand starts crumbling down. The thing is, of course, when you start scaling up, it's not really just like a hobby anymore. It's not something that you just did as a side hustle. It becomes a real business, and with a real business, if higher numbers, it's more pressure. When you're first starting out, like worst case scenario, what we're gonna do? Go back to working at McDonald's? That's not too bad, right? You were doing it for some time already. You can tug it out for a bit, that's fine. But let's say, you're doing bigger numbers now, you have a team on payroll, but then you couldn't pay them because you were too busy partying to actually care about the business, and then business isn't profitable. Okay, the problem comes with that. So more stress builds up, but you did not build any skills because instead of building more skills, you were partying out somewhere. And then you start thinking of ways to actually build it up to where you were previously, because you didn't build the right systems in place mentally, not just in the business, to be able to deal with that. Don't know how to cope. That's why people start doing some grey hat, black hat stuff. They need to do all these illegal methods just to get by. And the issue of that, of course, first of all, unethical. Second of all, illegal, can go to jail. Third of all, get sued by competitors, do 16 mil, like in this case over here. A lot of things can happen, right? Which is why it's very important for you to have the right mental system to handle this pressure. If not, you crack. And it's not something that you just tug it out, really. You tug it out until a certain point, Q4, you burn out. Even before November, you're screwed already. It means the biggest opportunity of the year. Which is why it's important to actually think about these type of things that it's not really sexy. Which is why people always try to tell you the secret. Me buying strategy, product research method, even when you first get started, like most of us have no business acumen at all. Bro, I came from selling vacuum cleaners. I didn't know anything about business. I was just thrown into it. And especially all of us are young. There's no good business advice for us that are applicable, that's relatable to us. So what's the mental system you actually need? Yeah, to scale a business, to scale ecom brand, you need to focus on creatives, offers, funnels, great. Personal development is as important. Info will only get you to a certain point. At that point, you just need better thinking, better ways to think about solutions. That's where the personal development comes in. You might think it's bullshit. When you get to a bigger scale, it starts to make a lot more sense already. So the most successful business owners train their mindset like any other skill, which is why you always see these like TikTok dudes like make all these edits. Elon Musk grind set, Jeff Bezos grind set, Patrick Bateman grind set. Like as funny as that is, it is a meme. There's some truth to it. Okay, it's like Napoleon Hill, the dude who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. Basically, it's basically a book on manifestation, how to think. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but many such content exists by weird people who are successful for a good reason as well. And at a high level, this is what most people don't really learn: how to separate the emotions from the decisions. When you're first starting out, you see a bad day, oh my god, panic. Same thing with trading, oh my god, bad trade, I'm gonna panic, trade everything back, you lose everything. Learning to control your emotions, I think as a personal development standpoint, is gonna be the most important thing you need to understand to be able to grow long term. Because if let's say you spend days doing creative research or whatever, and some people just crash out. They want to do some crazy things to their business, change landing pages, change products, crash out even worse. They spiral down. So be able to stay calm, not crash out, focus on data and iterate. It is what you will need to learn. The opposite is also true. Where if you have your best week ever, you can't take your foot off the pedal. This is also a big problem people have. They get overconfident, cocky. Suddenly their business was built on, not built on bricks. Their business was built on sand. A random ad account ban comes, the whole thing is screwed up. It's one ad account ban. So the thing is this, bro. Success long term is not like hustling your way, going through waves of motivation. Realistically, you're not going to constantly push at 100%. Success comes from being able to manage your downside. In this graph over here, what I mean by downside, everyone has a complacent and panic number set in mind. Let's say when you hit at 50k a day, for example, some of you that might be lower, 10k a day. You get complacent, you think that's good. Oh my god, let's go celebrate. I deserved it. I used to work at McDonald's, now I can go afford to party or whatever. Yeah, of course you can celebrate, be happy of your achievements. But at this point, they get too complacent where they stop doing what got them there in the first place. And obviously, if you run into these disruptive behaviors, once you're at a good point, instead of building more momentum going up, you spiral back down. You spiral back down until at one point you hit a panic number. Let's say it's 5k a day for you. Oh shit, too many problems already. Finding solutions. Literally, this comfort trap over here. So you need to understand that you will be the average of your complacent and your panic number. That could be a 10k day, 15k day. If you're struggling to scale, it's likely because you're indulging in these disruptive behaviors that you're not even aware of. So this is what we're going to go through. How to train your mind, right? This is going to be a short video on this. So I'm going to teach you, try to summarize as much as possible in these next few minutes. How come people fall into these cycles, the comfort trap? You do not rise to the level of your goals, you drop to the level of your standards. Everyone wants to hit their 100k days, to be super jacked, super rich. No one gets there. Why? Because they fall to the level of their standards. They might only be super motivated one day during New Year, but their standards are still very low. So they drop to the level of their standards, which is not doing anything at all. The same thing can apply to you, right? Don't think you're special, because everyone falls to the same things. So we call it action and reaction cycles. You need to first be aware of these behaviors. At 50k per day, you get complacent. What do you do? I've had dudes complain to me as well. Oh, bro, I'm not scaling. Okay, what are you doing right now? I'm in Taiwan, traveling. Huh? Something is not right here, okay? Oh, bro, I'm gonna hit you up when I log in, to make things work. Okay, what are you doing right now? I'm in Taiwan, bro. It just happened to me a few hours ago. Shout out to the guy who said that to me. Give me some motivation for this video. So yeah, you need to be able to balance your actions to maximize the outcomes, because we don't want to just go up and down constantly like this. What we want is higher highs and higher lows, which basically means instead of up and down like this, you go higher highs and higher lows, if you can see my drawing. And hopefully that makes more sense. Okay, that's the first step of awareness. How do you actually be aware of your destructive behaviors? Very simple. Journaling is a big one. Why do I advocate for journaling? It's not to say that writing things down is the best thing. It's just you do not really give your mind space to think and wonder. In this day and age, everyone is so fixated on TikTok, social media. I don't need to tell you this, bro. You already know, but most of your time, it's not really spent on thinking. It's best spent on this empty dopamine, which really affects your focus. So, if you ever wonder why you get a lot of thoughts while you're trying to sleep before, while you're showering, it's because during those times you're actually not doing anything. So, to first be aware, you need to usually do nothing or just focus on just thinking. Okay? Everything else is just distractions. People will tell me, oh, I feel it's so hard to lock in, I can't get anything work, I can't be consistent, I always procrastinate. Let me give you a very simple solution. Like I said, it's because you loaded yourself with too much distractions, too much dopamine. If you locked yourself in a room without a phone, computer, or anything at all, if literally you just sat in a room empty with one chair and a wall, you'll figure most things out by yourself. Because you know, at that point, you're so bored, your brain will already tell you, okay, actually, you know what? I had to do this in the back of my mind. I had to do some script writing. I mean, there's a lot of things you think about, like, maybe there's some things I didn't process. There's some vices that I've fallen into, behaviors that aren't good, that affected my business as well. Once you start giving your mind space to think and wonder through journaling, through locking yourself in a room, you start to unlock more insights by yourself and become more aware. That's the first step. It's just awareness. Those who think it's bullshit, I'm going to give you guys a story. Over here, bottom left, is Mike Chang. I met this guy. Shout out, good guy. He used to run Six Pack Shortcuts, which is an old YouTube channel back in the OG days. Multiple, I'm not sure they have few hundred million views, but definitely a lot. And they were doing about 2 mil a month. This was like 10 years ago. 2 mil a month 10 years ago is a lot compared to 2 mil a month now, right? He was at 2 mil a month, but he felt so burnt out because all he was just doing, he didn't really develop his mindset. All he focused on was business. Until he got to the point where he can't even focus. He was anxious going to work, even though you're doing 2 mil a month. And it's not just him that has faced these issues as well. David Fogarty as well. I think it's going to close up. Maybe this year ends. David is going to make $1 billion in online revenue. $1 billion. And he talked about it as well, where he will come to a point in his business where it goes so far that in the end, your mindset doesn't develop, you can't cope with it, and everything just tumbles down, regardless of the revenue or how it seems that you're successful on the outside. What do? So Mike Chang told me a story where he just sat down and looked at the wall for the next few hours. I think he was also high from shrooms. That's literally all he did. And in that period, he gained more self-awareness of everything that's going on and more clarity, because he was so fixated on waking up, going to work, doing this, doing that. He never actually gave himself time to actually think and reflect on everything that's been going on, his self-trauma, and all these type of things that really affected him and compounded in the end until his business imploded. So this is where it comes from, right? And someone doing 2 mil a month, it happens to them, it can really happen to you as well. Okay? Which is why we're talking about this today. Normal people will think it might be bullshit, but at the higher levels, these type of things are really, really important. Because here's this. People will also ask me, hey, Sean, although my store is doing well now, I'm afraid it's just a regular dropshipping store. It might just die anytime. I'm afraid that it will never be a real business and I keep having to go through this hamster wheel. How do you actually deal with that? You deal with that if you're self-confident about yourself. But self-confidence is not built on affirmations, on lies. It's not telling yourself, I'm the best. I need my guru community to tell me constantly that I'm good at something. That's just stroking your ego. But that isn't self-confidence. When you get to the point of self-confidence, it's like people say, they throw you in a desert, laptop, you're sure you can make it work. To be able to have this is when you constantly uphold the promises you make to yourself. If you can't even trust yourself to do the things you say you want to do, it makes sense why you're always worried and if you make something work. If you constantly tell yourself that I'm going to have a sick body, and then you never actually go to the gym, right? The same thing can reflect in your business as well. Do you think then you will be able to have a successful business if you can't even keep the self promises you made to yourself? The chances is likely not. Okay. So, but on the other hand, okay, if you keep the promises you made to yourself, although small, because it's all about momentum. It can be even as small as I'm going to do push-ups, 10 push-ups a day, or 5. I don't know how fit unfit you are. Okay. And just do that every single day, then you start building up momentum. Okay, 5 a day is super easy. 5, then 6, then 7. Then everything compounds up to the point it goes harder and harder. Business, same thing as well. Eventually, you keep these promises you make to yourself. You know that whatever I say I'm gonna do, I will actually do. And it's backed by evidence. All these times, all these days, all these years, I've actually kept my promises. I know I'm gonna make it work. I said it, I'll make it work for sure. That's self-confidence. And it's not on just telling yourself and getting hype man to make you think that you're great. If you want to get to your ideal self, whoever you are now, you're at 10K per day, you want to get to 300K per day, I don't know, whatever number you are. You're your current real self, you want to get to your ideal self, right? In the middle, we call it congruent self. Separate topic. To be able to get to where you want to be the person that who you want to be, you have to take the actions that affirm the new identity, although actions are small. Which is why I gave you the small momentum analogy there. I want to be a 100K per day guy. What does a 100K per day guy do? Let's say he spends 30 minutes getting better at leadership. Great. He's great leader. And maybe instead of 30, I'm going to spend 10 minutes a day learning something about leadership. Do that every single day for a month. That's great. You hit your habits, you're building something up. Then you go further. Hey, I'm going to do 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Maybe hour, eventually it compresses up to an hour a day. The more you do it, the better skill you get at it, the more you keep your promises, become more self-confident, and since you took action to become, to affirm the new identity of your ideal self, eventually you're going to get there either way. That's how it starts. It's all a whole big feedback loop as well. Success long-term is a game of momentum and habit building. It's not having some crazy skill set, it's not being the smartest in the room or some secret strategies. Think longer, not just 1-2 years down the line having a Lambo. 10, 20, 30, 50 years down the line having empires, imparting to your children actual generational wealth. You're gonna need to keep up this momentum throughout your lifetime. You do that, simple. Of course, you have to make what's good for you easy and what's bad for you hard. If it was so easy for you to be distracted, how do you add friction to that? Throw your phone out when you work, for example. Or you're struggling to spend an hour a day studying. Okay, great. The same book you want to study, purchase 5 of it. Put it every single place that you are. On your office desk next to you, in the toilet one, bedside one. Just makes it super easy for you to keep learning. This is how habit building is done. I won't dive too deep into it. But you will see this often in a lot of people in the world. Is that it's a term called the mirror effect, right? How you are internally is what you project out. So if you're always constantly afraid of being scammed, you will treat other people the same way as well. if you always purchase pirated stuff, if you ever sell something, people are gonna pirate it from you as well. It's a mirror effect, right? How you are internally reflects how you are, how people treat you externally as well. And you don't have to say it out. For example, if you internally judge people, although you don't mention it, you are afraid to be judged. Why do I mention this? At a certain point in business, I think a lot of people use external things to fill the void in them. They think that having all these Lambos and stuff is going to make them happy, but internally there's something going wrong. That's where I've seen a lot of gurus also. They achieve this wealth. Most of them now are just still running some guru mentorship, or really just playing games and smoking weed. It's a very, very reality. I know a lot of people back in the day who are questioning doing this now. It's sad. Also, another example I gave: girls who tell you they're gonna go travel to find themselves. They use external things to fill the void because internally something is not fixed. But that's not how you're gonna fix yourself. That's not how you're gonna fix your mindset as well. If you dive deep into doing nothing, giving a space time to think and wonder, you'll be able to figure it out. Even me as well, sometimes I feel that it's what I've noticed is when business gets stressed out, I feel like I want to go travel. But I come back, I travel, things are still fucked up. Whereas what I really needed to do was just fix the business then. That's all I needed to do, talking for some time, fix the business, and all these external thoughts will go away. I needed through journaling and through knowing myself. And of course, know that the people you surround yourself with will shape how you end up. That can be through the parents. I know dudes who are doing over $1 million a month. Like they still go to college because it's their parents. I respect that, you know. But they only do it because their parents want them to. Either if that's holding you back really from scaling to go back to where you want to be, realistically, either you let their dreams die out or you let your own. I've had multiple times in my life where I hang out with the wrong people, even before I was in Ecom, even when I was doing decent in Ecom, that really affected many months, many years of my life where I could have done better. And a lot of you guys as well, all these kids nowadays, they think running this e-commerce business is like, it's like a game, but in a bad way. They go on Discord chats and just brain rot and then never get anywhere. They don't take any action. They just think that it's a community, it's fun. No one actually takes action on it. If that's the people you surround yourself with, that's who you're going to end up. The more dangerous thing as well, like I mentioned above, people who can't cope, they do start doing black hat shit. If that's the friends you hang out with, you're going to end up the same way also. And it's always better, it's what people don't learn. It's always better to be alone than to be with other people. And at the start, it's going to be hard because most people aren't comfortable being with themselves. Same thing. If you don't feel a journal, give yourself space and time to wonder, you'll figure out a lot more about yourself than you would have otherwise. That's where growth comes, by knowing thyself. And last thing, this video is a bit all over the place, but what I mentioned in this section is basically all the things that you need to implement to avoid all the previous problems like I mentioned about. Most people won't get this video. The ones who do actually implement, which is even a smaller percent of people, it's probably going to be less than 1% of people who take action on this, which is why most people don't succeed. Unfortunate. So making money this legit way is going to be the hardest. You can do a lot of other things that are grey hat, black hat. To make money those ways is easy, but how long is that going to last you? How long of a cycle of this game are you going to play? People say, I'm going to make this money and then I'm going to dip. People say that, but no one actually dips. People go to the casino, I'm going to make this amount of money and then I'm going to dip. Most people don't. Lose everything in the end. It's the same thing for business. Rather than doing that, what if you just make money the right way? You will be the hardest, but if you put the most skills, you'll be the most self-confident this way. And I don't know what type of people you're motivated by. If let's say you look back to yourself, your 5-year-old self looks up to you again, you're proud of yourself. You have a kid in the future, you can actually tell them about your business that you're proud of. You can actually tell them, hey, you can do anything you set your mind to, because I did the same thing. And overall, all these challenges along the way, building it the right way, makes it fun. But in order to be successful, you need to really train your mindset, develop your personal self, to be able to handle all of these trials and tribulations that life may throw you at you. This is some of the most common things that I've seen over the years, of why people fail in terms of their mindset, some of the solutions that I've personally tried over a few years. So hopefully you got some value out of this. If you found this video helpful and want to go deeper on not just the mental side of running the Ecom brand, but technical things like creative strategy, CRO, team building, everything that goes into building a real brand. And if you want to be surrounded by a like-minded community, we also run a private community for 300 plus brand owners doing anywhere from 100K per month to over $10 million plus per month. We are inside there every single day, sharing what's working, what's not, and insider secrets on how we're going to get to the next level. Of course, on the technical side, like I said, every single thing we're doing on the creative strategy, CRO side, as well as how do we break past mental plateaus to get to the next level. Because there are dudes inside there that do various amounts of revenue, also various walks of life. Some super young, 17, 16, still in high school. Some of them, they have kids already who are in high school right now, right? So we're in there supporting each other, sharing what's working, getting to the next level. If that's something that interests you, I'm going to leave a link down in the video. Thanks for watching.